Hello, and welcome to another wonderful episode of Ask Adam Live. ASK is the acronym for Always Seek Knowledge. One of the things I strive with each one of these episodes I get to offer to you is that you become a little bit more inquisitive about life, about yourself, and maybe about what you do. Maybe you understand a little bit more about others. Maybe you understand more about yourself. And like I said, and about what you do. We all have something we do in life, but having passion and appreciating and enjoying what it is that we do, well, I think that's the true value of what makes life worthwhile. In today's episode, it's the power of collaboration, partnerships that will propel you forward. Let's get on with the show. The power of collaboration. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. See, your next breakthrough might not come from more hustle. It might come from the right person in your corner. I remember a good friend of mine, his breakthrough, and appropriately named the final percent, is my friend Greg. And he always says you're just 1% away from that next thing happening. You're 1% away from that next conversation propelling you to your next step forward. You're 1% away from that next new idea coming to your mind and becoming something absolutely, unbelievably amazing in whatever it is that you're doing. I will even go as far in examples to share with you that relationship, when you're just kind of reaching your point where you're like, I can't date another person. I can't be in another long-term relationship. I can't see myself possibly marrying someone. Give it a chance. Give it that one more try. You never know what happens when the right person becomes your advocate, becomes your friend, becomes your partner, both in business and relationships. It can change everything. That's why collaboration is so important. And the idea of doing it by yourself, I am almost certain, they're not here in the room, so I can't speak for them specifically. But if you ask Jeff Bezos or you ask Elon Musk or you ask any of the people in today's current business world that have excelled, like I said, in the stratosphere, as far as their business, what they're doing, what they're creating, the income that they're generating to the obnoxious levels that they are, the debt that they incurred, the struggles, the sleepless nights, all the stuff they did, I can guarantee you they didn't do it by themselves. The sleepless nights, they weren't all by themselves worrying. Trust me, there was a team of people that weren't sleeping on particular evenings. They won't always admit it, but I can share with you it's true. That in a culture that celebrates going solo, well, we often underestimate how far collaboration can actually take us. Faster, deeper, and stronger. I found that having a partner, having a mentor, having the accountability group, having all of these various levels of collaboration seems to kind of make it slightly easier. And this allowed me to, not worry so much. Because I wasn't just able to pass the burden on, I was able to share the burden. And quite frankly, once you're encountering something like that, the ability to share and collaborate, well, now all of a sudden it's not a problem. It's just the next step that you're developing and that you're building. So by having that team of people, instead of just worrying, hey, how am I going to financially take the next step in my business? You collaborate with your team and go, hey, we get to experience a financial adventure here. Who has some ideas? Fundraising, personal loans, business loans. generating income through selling of shares and stocks and partnerships, you would be amazed at what collaboration actually can create once you get into the huddle and start having those discussions. And pretty soon, quite frankly, the worry is no longer there. The worry is replaced with the excitement of strategy because you're now seeing the next step, not worrying about what direction. And I appreciated that many times I wasn't handling things by myself, that I had that collaboration and that team effort in surrounding me. And I think you will as well, that you'll appreciate it. So, in this episode, you'll learn the 3 qualities of the high impact partnership and 5 ways to effectively build powerful collaborations in your business, your brand, or your personal growth journey. Again, this is about growth. And remember, like I said, ASK is the acronym for always seeking knowledge. Seek knowledge about each one of these things, and you can gain that knowledge from your collaboration, from the people that are, well, in your corner, not just in the ring with you, but they're in your corner and they're supporting you. So let's really dive into this thing and understand why collaboration beats isolation. Solo success, well, it can become a bottleneck. You know, you can get overwhelmed with all the daily that needs to happen with personal and business growth. When you're trying to do so many things, when having an accountability partner, someone in your corner that can maybe do something for your benefit, maybe work on a smaller project for you, that helps your ability to flow and to stay in the direction. Collaboration, as I mentioned, brings multiple ideas, energy, and reach. You know, if you're just sitting there thinking about it, you're only thinking about, well, the capacity of what you know, what's between your ears. But boy, if you could multiply that with 2, 3, 5 other individuals, and now you have the power between their ears and between their ears and between their ears, as well as their insight and expertise and knowledge. Maybe it's somebody a little bit older in your group. Maybe it's somebody a little younger that offers that fresh new perspective of what the market's actually seeing. I found that immensely helpful because, well, not that I'm afraid of the new world, but I just have trouble dialing myself into thinking. In fact, in my group, they laugh many times is because my most common phrase is, well, it's what the kids are saying now. Well, I got to remind myself that the market isn't what I remember, and it's certainly not what it evolved into when I was in the market actively. And then I have to keep reminding myself that the market may have surpassed me, and that I need that fresh perspective from those set of eyes, from that mindset, from that perspective. You know, this support also builds sustainability. And quite frankly, it shields you against burnout by having delegation and designation, by allowing people to collaborate. And if you're not necessarily there, that's okay. You don't have to be there for everything. I learned that too, because if you think you have to be involved in every single aspect of it as a solopreneur, well, that could become tiresome. I want you to become a megapreneur. And that's only going to happen when you allow multiples. When you allow that collaboration of others to come in and help you in either places that you're unfamiliar with, a mindset you're not quite adaptive to, as well as being open-minded to some new avenues that haven't been reached. See, partnership isn't about giving up control. It's about multiplying your impact. And quite frankly, is that not what we all want to do? And again, whether it's in your business, your relationships, or just what you're doing. Maybe you're showing up to your daily job, and that's okay. But show up with impact and help collaborate with your team to make an even better impact. And that through the collaboration of your team is what helps you propel and grow and move up in leadership. Not just building your own business, but helping in someone else's. The three qualities, part two, of a powerful partnership. Aligned values. Trust starts with shared priorities and purpose. Again, the people that are on your team, they really need to be your advocates. They really need to be on your side, and they do need to understand your why. They need to understand your purpose, and they need to understand your priorities. What is it that you're looking to do, and how are you looking to do it, and to measure the impact by which it's going to get done. Number two is complementary strengths. Like I said, I look for a younger individual to be on my team because I want that perspective. It complements and strengthens the group. See, I don't need people who are just like me. I need someone who fills the gaps. I need that older perspective of conservative consistency to remind me that it's a long step and it's a long journey towards growth and that it doesn't happen overnight. I need those remembrances. I also need that fresh perspective from a younger generation that says, hey, here's what the kids are doing now. Here's where the market's leaning now. Here's where the most impact can occur now. And I need everything in between. And remember, you also want to keep this kind of an odd number of individuals just so the votes don't always even out. But like I said, with the diversity that you would have in your team and your group with your mentors and your knowledge base for various things that you're designating and delegating, you have a marketing department, an accounting department, a development department. Where's your business going? What are you creating next? You know, these outlines just don't happen by themselves. It takes a little bit of research and some thinking to be able to come up with each one of these episodes that I provide to you. It takes a team to put this together for you. I'm happy to do it. And it's that number three, mutual growth. See, the best partnerships expand both people. And it's not at like each other's expense. You know, we're not exhausting each other to then rid the next one out. We're feeding from each other. I'm feeding from the older mentor that says, hey, it's a long road. Pace yourself. And they're feeding from me through the energy that they see from me, that I want to win tomorrow, not later. And I also see that the younger generation is feeding from me to not only see that growth comes at a slow pace, but also being at the cutting edge of the marketing wheel. Well, that's important too. And they're learning stuff from me that they can now carry on. So we're not taking from each other, we're actually feeding each other. And that is creating a powerful partnership for all of us. Part three is the 5 ways to activate collaboration. So once you get your team together and you understand those 3 concepts mentioned, let's activate it. Audit your current circles. Who are we already connected to? And who are we not collaborating with? I challenge my team all the time is that we can kind of feed from each other, but if we're not sort of like bees in a hive stepping out to go pollinate the flowers and then come back to the hive with the pollen creating the honey, well, we're certainly not going to grow the hive. So it's okay if they step out. It's okay if they collaborate with maybe another team and even bring back some ideas from that team, or hey, they're doing this, or hey, I went to this networking event. You know, if we all jump on the peace bus and we all go to the same networking event, well, we all learn the same thing. And that's not effective growth. You need to reach out and make sure that your circle, current circle, has that level of, well, diversity. Active collaboration is number 2, reach out with a win-win offer. Lead with, how can we serve each other's communities? I'm not just looking to take, I'm looking to exchange. So when I'm working with one of my team members and they're giving me a little extra, I often reach out to say, hey, how's your family doing? You know, especially when we're working on a project that seems to really take a lot more time than normal. Is this affecting your family? Have they noticed you're gone a little bit more? And how can we best serve you to maybe soften that so it's not such an impact on your family? Constantly looking for the win-win strategy every time, because it's not about give and take. It's about finding that equilibrium. Number 3 is to co-create content. Have open ideas to different guests we can interview and some of the live events that we produce. How can we do that? And some of the workshops. Where can we be a little bit more innovative with how we're presenting things in today's technological world? What's the next new title for our newsletter? And how can we collaborate that information? Podcast ideas, like you're experiencing now. This was someone's idea to adjust the studio and give it this professional look. I hope you appreciate it, by the way, and they do as well. As well as swaps. When we're doing episodes like this, who can we collaborate with to be on theirs and they can be on ours? Who can you share your ideas with? Who can you exchange with in your business? That's going to be a win-win for both you and them. Also, number 4, set clear goals and clear roles. See, clarity prevents conflict. Outline what each person brings to the table. And don't forget to embrace that, because it's a little different than what someone else can bring. So we need to celebrate that. And when they have a good idea, celebrate it even more. And if it's an idea that, well, like many times in my case I bring to the table, is not so good, I'm reminded how it's not so good and why it's not so good. Not just that's a bad idea, be quiet. It's explained to me that my idea might be slightly outdated. And that's okay. It's helped me become a better me by being slightly more creative and thinking much deeper and honing in a little bit more on how I should be thinking and understanding a little bit more of, well, what's needed in today's world. Because you can get kind of caught in your own self little circle and just think what you need, everyone else needs, when that's not the case. So thanks to my circle, by the way. The other thing we do, number 5, is celebrate and check in often. Like any relationship, regular check-ins build trust and refine the rhythm. We continuously have this rhythm where we're exchanging information with each other, and we're commingling via Slack and Slack channels and various text messages and just different things that we are doing, sharing with each other, that are allowing us to stay in touch and not let things get out of hand or get out of the way. And this, quite frankly, I've found most beneficial because it's not always a surprise. You see things evolving and coming where it's not just oh, hey, here's this happening now. No, we saw it coming from a quite large, distant direction in front of us. And now, maybe we avoided something and it all of a sudden is in front of us and it's like, hey, we really have to tackle this issue. But we all kind of saw it coming because we were talking about it. And, collectively, we kind of pushed it to the side. And, we're all guilty of that. But again, all being on the same page, we can also celebrate that we handled it correctly or to the best of our abilities. And we can also maybe point a finger at ourselves, each one of us, to say, we probably shouldn't let that occur again. So remember that you should celebrate and check in. So audit your current circle, reach out with a win-win offer to everyone. Everyone should be happy. I'm not saying life's a ball of it's not completely wonderful, but just checking in to make sure somebody's maybe not feeling burdened, like they're doing too much or taking on too much or not feeling appreciated. It needs to be a win-win situation for sure. Co-create content. And what two people collectively came up with, another two people could come up with something completely different. And I love that collaboration with the team, is that they're always coming up with a different idea, almost to the point we have to defend our ideas to get them to show up here on the show, because it's just so much good stuff going on. But it's good to, again, co-create and put things together. We also set clear roles and goals. And I think knowing what you do best, you know what you're already bringing to the table. And I don't have to necessarily ask a particular individual, hey, what can you bring? They're very excited because they already know their position in our circle, and they bring it to the table with enthusiasm every single week. And we celebrate those check-ins, those weekly meetings that we have. They are a celebration because people can't wait to share what it is that they've learned in their circle and that they're bringing to our circle. And that's the building of collaboration. So let's recap. The best collaborations are values aligned, strengths complementary, and mutual uplifting. To reach out, co-create, and grow together. Remember, you don't have to do it all. And you don't have to do it alone. Create your circle, build that collaborative team, and remember, allow them to step out and to step in. I invite you to download the Collaboration Catalyst Map worksheet. Use it indefinitely. Use it to identify your strengths, gaps, and potential partner pathways. I invite you to share your biggest takeaway with the hashtag collab2grow and tag at AskAdamLive. You were never meant to build your dream alone. The right partnership doesn't just help you, it elevates you. Now let's go out collaboratively and make it a great day.